Hello everybody, and welcome back to the importance of being. I hope you're all well. I'm talking to you today from the Bongo, as you can see, and I thought it was about time I gave you all an update on the state of health of the Bongo. And it is October, and it's in October that I get all the expensive maintenance done. I acquired the van in October, so the MOT is due now, the service, and would have been the road tax, but I did that in April for a year. If you've been watching these videos or you've seen previous ones on the Bongo, you will know that in the last 2 years I've also developed a problem with some rust on the sills of the Bongo. So I'll give you an update on that as well. And also the other issue we've had in the last few months is a lack of gas, the tank of gas, and a little update on that. So to start with, rust. It's a bit of a long saga, but I will give you a brief history in case you haven't seen the other videos. And by the way, I'm going to create a playlist just for Bongo maintenance and rust, so that you should be able to see all the other ones I've done. The bodywork has been amazing on this van. I had the van 8 years ago now, and it was flawless when I received it, and I had it under sealed, and until the last 2 years really I've had no issues with rust. But I did notice a few little spots developing on the sills during the first lockdown, and kind of thought, I don't really know what to do with it, and I've kind of left it, much to my shame. Earlier this year, I knew there was one spot in particular on the driver's side, on the sill, just near the rear wheel arch, that was getting quite bad, very noticeable, quite ugly looking. And earlier this year I decided that needed tackling, and I wish it would have been just so easy as to take the van somewhere and have it fixed. I would have been happy to spend money on doing that, but it turned out not to be quite so straightforward, because I couldn't really find anywhere that was that I felt comfortable with to start with, because I went to a few garages who were a bit sniffy about bongos and was saying, it'll be a rust bucket, it's going to cost you thousands. So I didn't want to go there. And then I did find one garage that seemed very lovely, and I took the van there, booked it in, took the van there, and it was in there sort of 2 days, and when I rang up they hadn't even looked at it, and that made me pretty annoyed really, because, you know, whilst I don't use the van every day, I do use it, and I didn't really want it sort of not even being looked at. So I basically took the van away and said I'll go elsewhere. And going elsewhere proved to be the difficulty. I really struggled, and I put a message out to all of you helpful people, and thanks to a few of you who gave me some recommendations. One of you is Chris. Thank you so much. You're a local person as well. And it seemed that sort of maybe a body shop was going to be a better option, and that is what I did. I started to look at some body shops, and I found one in near me in the Vale of Glamorgan. Went to see him, took the Bongo to see him, and he said, yeah, might need a sill, might get away with some welding. He said, the trouble is, this was in August, he said, I am flat out at the moment, give me a call sort of September time. So I was reasonably comfortable about going there, and then kind of thought, right, come the autumn, I'll go there. And I put the issue out of my head, and I thought, I'll do it. I'll tell you what I'll do. Richard and I went away for 2 weeks at the start of September, and I thought, when we come home, it's sort of the MOT service time, I'll get the welding done then after. And that was my second mistake. So to bring you up to date, in October, normally I go to Worcester to get the servicing done. It's a really knowledgeable garage in Worcester, and they have always been brilliant. But this year I'm working and I don't have the availability of time, because I've normally gone for a day trip to Worcester and spent the day wandering around Worcester and having a lovely time. and don't really have that luxury of time. Plus, I didn't really want to travel all that way with fuel prices and all the rest of it. So because of the recommendations, I tried a garage in Cardiff. Some of you may know, they're quite knowledgeable with bongos, called Autocraft. And I have taken my bongo there previously last year because I had an oil leak from the shock absorber, and they replaced that and it was all very efficient, so I was pretty comfortable going there. So I took my van in for its MOT. Kind of, I don't know why I didn't learn from my mistake here. I took it in for its MOT and knew that there was this rust on the sill. But in all honesty, I was naive. I didn't really think that was going to be an MOT failure. So you know what's coming next. I was wandering around Cardiff. They gave me a phone call and they said, I'm really sorry, it's failed because of rust. I was like, oh my God. First thought was, oh, it's rusty underneath and it's all deteriorated. So I went round, I was only round the corner, and I went to the garage and I said, oh my God, where's this rust? And they said, don't panic. And I could see they had sort of pushed a hole through the rust patch that was on the sill. And I said, oh, I knew about that rust patch and I was going to have that done anyway. And they said, well, it's failed because of that, because it's formed a hole. I went, oh, that's so frustrating, because I was going to get it done anyway. And they said, well, look, we can get it welded to pass the MOT. They don't do the paint work though. And I said, well, you know, being as it's there now and I've had such an issue trying to find someone to do the welding, I said, yeah, let's do it. So the van stayed with them for, I think it was 2 days, maybe 3. And they said, okay, it's done. It's not going to look pretty, but I thought, oh, that's fine. As long as it's past its MOT and that hole is welded, I can spend a bit of time getting the paintwork done. So have a little look. This is the van now. I have to say I'm quite pleased, because I was expecting a big sort of black patch of welding. And what they've done, they've actually coloured it grey. Now, clearly it's not a match with the existing paint, but I feel better that the hole is gone and that really bad bit of rust has gone. And they've patched welded a patch on that. But as you can see, the paintwork needs doing. But also underneath the sills on both sides of the van, there is this surface rust. And I believe that if I had tackled the first bit of rust when it appeared, I wouldn't have been in this position of needing welding now. So the sills need doing, they need doing quite urgently, and I want to get that done before Christmas. I'm going to go back to the place in the Vale that I found and see if I can pin him down. He is very busy, and I know some of you have tried to go there and, you know, you kind of never get a firm appointment. So I'm going to go there. If I fail there, now the welding's been done, I'm a bit more comfortable about going to another body shop. There's plenty in my local area, and just getting them to strip it back and match the paint. So that is the update on the rust patch. Silly me, should have had that done, and then I wouldn't have had the MOT fail. The good news was there was no advisories. So apart from that bit of rust, everything else with the van was fine for the MOT. And even better, which made me glow with pride, Richard went to collect the van and the mechanic told him that don't panic, you know, it was a hole and we've patched that, but the underside of your bongo is fantastic. So I felt pretty good about that. So it wasn't all bad news, but yes, still looking for somewhere to tackle the cosmetic rust at the moment, but it needs doing. So that is the news. The news on the MOT, obviously, everything else was fine. And I had a small service done because I'm not really doing that much mileage in the van. So they did the filters and things. So that's another job done. The van drove perfectly. We did just over, gosh, how many miles did we do? I'll put a link up because I actually now cannot remember how many miles we did. for our 2-week road trip. We travelled from Wales right across the country to East Anglia and did a bit of a circle to come back. And, you know, the van is perfect. It, at the moment, touch wood, and I say this, you know, gosh, anything can go wrong at any time. I know that, but we have no issues. The van always starts first time, and it's still only done how many 110,000 kilometers. So, you know, really the engine is, you know, pretty good, I think, but we will keep on top of maintenance. The other story is the gas. We encountered a problem. We have bottled gas. No, it's not gas, it's Camping Gaz. And normally the last cylinder I bought was 2 years ago. So it's lasted us 2 years, and we do use it quite a lot throughout the year. So I went to the same hardware place that I normally go to. Just before we went away, I said, can I have the Camping Gaz cylinder? And he said, no. I went, what? He said, we're out of stock and we're having real supply issues with that one. There is another one, but it's a different size regulator, and my cupboards were built to fit the gas cylinder, the Camping Gaz, and it didn't quite fit, so that wasn't an option. He said, across the UK, we supply to all of the garages pretty much in South Wales, so you're probably not going to find any anywhere else either. And I was like, oh no. So I thought maybe I phoned around loads of garages and camping sites locally, and none of them had this particular gas. So when we went away for our 2 weeks, we started to use the portable gas stoves and the butane. And, you know, a previous video I've done about prepping, I have stocked up on butane. When we were away, we went to a camping shop and they had 4 cylinders for, I think, £12 of the butane for the portable stove. So I've stocked up on that. And we went past a few garages. They didn't sell. Everyone seems to have moved to Cala, so they didn't have any camping gas. And we stopped in Wadhurst, a beautiful village in Sussex. And we were wandering around and we saw this really old-fashioned hardware shop in the middle of town. And Richard said, I wonder if they stock it. I said, well, it's worth a try. So we walked in, and the guy behind the counter, Richard, said, have you got, I think it's the 907 Camping Gaz? And he went, yeah. And we were like, I said, have you got it in stock? He said, yeah, they're out the back. And we were like, oh, me and Richard were practically dancing around the shop. We couldn't believe it. So we went back to the van, got the old cylinder and did the exchange. So fantastic news. We have gas again. I'm hoping it'll last another 2 years. That was honestly a huge weight off my mind, because it was just with the winter that we're going to have and everything going up in price. It had gone up in price from when we last bought it, but I was just so relieved to have that tank in the van. So more good news there. So all in all, everything is fine with the Bongo. I will, of course, keep you updated on anything I have done, and I will let you know when I find the body shop. But for now, this is the end of this update. Hope you're all well and hope all of your bongos are behaving. But here's to a worry-free winter and bongo loving for us all. And I'll see you on the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.